This is the Business Storytelling Show, a top global marketing podcast listened to in more than 100 countries, live streamed on social media, and broadcast on DBTV. Christoph Trappe chats with industry leaders to help your company tell better business stories. Here's today's episode.
Let's go, business storytellers. How's everyone doing? Christoph Trappe here, episode 620, I think. Is that what I saw there? We're moving right along here. Today we want to talk about LinkedIn. And you know what? I see you on LinkedIn. Everybody posting stuff like, great post, following. I'm not sure that even works on LinkedIn, my friends. Stuff like that. Very, very generic stuff. So how do you do that better? Engage AI is one of those tools that you can try. And certainly you can check out the link in the bottom, and you can also scan the QR code up there. That might be the first time I'm pointing the correct way on a live stream. So really appreciate their support today for today's episode as well. And we're talking to Jason Tan about what is the software about, how does it work, how does it write better comments, AI, right? It's all through AI, but I'm always curious, how does it work? And is it really better than people just commenting stuff like, great post, awesome thoughts, thanks for posting? I mean, it has to, right? Let's find out. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Super excited to share with you what we guys do at the Engage AI.
So, when I heard about Engage AI, and I mean, it's certainly a problem out there. People posting comments that are just a waste of time, right? They're not really engaging. They're not really sharing anything unique. So your product came out and kind of tries to solve that problem for the busy people that still try to connect on LinkedIn. So kind of tell us about it if you can.
Exactly. So a lot of people, they are commenting to say, hey, thanks for sharing. I love it. Great insight. Really, they are deploying that commenting for getting attention strategy. It is a proven strategy used in many platforms from Twitter, Facebook, in IG to LinkedIn. It's a proven strategy. The problem is it takes time and it takes challenge. So if you really want to get much better attention, thank you for sharing great insight is not going to cut it. So that is what Engage AI is about. Engage AI help them to get over the writer's block, help them to get different idea, and give them some starting point to start with, and where they always have a chance to edit it at their personal touch. We always want to have the human in the loop, and that is what Engage AI does. And as you saw on the screen, as they mouse over, we figured it out what the content is the post, and we put together the context together with the tone that the user can choose, whether it's answer, agree, funny or disagree, or maybe asking question. Putting those together, our product will then draft the comment for user to start with, and that is how Engage AI works.
You know, what's interesting to me is, I mean, certainly AI is currently in the headlines, right? Everybody wants to try this, AI here, AI there, whatever. But certainly the thing I have learned with AI, and I think some people were already, they already shot themselves in the foot. They just go, they don't read it again, right? They just go, hey, I need a comment for LinkedIn, or like they say stuff like, write me something, for whatever. And here's what I do, my friends. I actually take the podcast, this podcast right here, I upload it to Otter. Otter transcribes it. Then I put it into Cloud AI, and Cloud AI writes in my article. My first draft of my article, sometimes it is hallucinating. That is the official term. And it just makes stuff up. So you have to read it. You have to edit it. That's similar in your product too, right? I mean, people have to read it, make sure it's still fun.
That is correct. And if I were to put that in an analogy, is that we are going to really see three different kind of group in the world, right? There's one that is completely resisting using the AI. Then the second group, where you and I are talking about how we use the AI to assist us with the foundation work, with the framework, with the baseline, and then who will overkill with the AI, where they just use the AI to automate the entire thing. Now, I imagine that the world that who's going to benefit from the AI, or not the AI, is the people in that group in between. We are not really asking the AI to replace us, that pump out some rubbish content or pump out the rubbish comment or in any given way. What we are asking is, give me the baseline and I will work from that. And that is just going to be much, much faster than people who don't want to use it and completely resist it at all. And that is really the bottom line that I think we all should embrace with AI, but also treat it with an open mind. It's a great example, Chris. I love it.
I appreciate it. I mean, I see that all the time. People do that. And so how many people are using Engage AI right now actively on LinkedIn? Roughly how many? I think you told me a number a few weeks ago.
We have got 45,000 users around the world since we launched in January this year, with zero ad spending. And it is also generating revenue. So we are super, super thankful of all these early adopters. While you are still showing the screen, we actually have users from all around the world. And what get me really is on the second and the third screen, Engage AI can actually do it in any language, in multilingual. So we have coded in the way that is smart enough to figure out what is the native language of the post. So if it is Japanese, it will write in Japanese. If it is in German, it will write in German. And people can just edit it from there. From the user that I spoke with, I was told that they are quite spot on.
So certainly I'm bilingual, and sometimes, I mean, but I do most of my work in English nowadays. So when I see something in German, like I can change my keyword to the German keyboard, my keyboard to the German keyboard, but it's kind of a pain, quite frankly, right? So if you can just do this, you can just say in German, you respond in German, here's my tone, and then you can read it, because editing in German on an American keyboard is certainly way, way easier. Now, the one thing I see floating by here as we're seeing the demo is the different tones. And I've had mixed experiences when it comes to tones, right? Sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's right on, like not in your tool, but like in other tools. Like, I don't know if that's funny. Do you know what I mean? I know writing funny is really hard, quite frankly, to begin with.
Absolutely.
But how do you pick the right tone, or how do you know what tone to pick?
I would really say it comes down to how much you know the prospect or the client that you are keeping in touch. So I usually would use the funny tone if I already have a established relationship with the prospect or the client, where I know they are okay with the joke that I make. But if they are not, if they are someone still new, I would just go with friendly or asking question. That is the way that I would really, really approach it. But what I would equally encourage everyone to do is to write their custom tone. So as it mouse over, that is a link where people can click to go to the setting page. And that is where the real, even more magic that will happen, where user can actually write the custom prompt. So let's just say, for example, this is how I would write a custom prompt. Let's just say, for example, a lot of those tones that we pre-configure, it doesn't try to sell anything, but there will always be opportunity for me to promote my product or my services, right? So I would write a custom tone in talking about some part about the post, but also sort of like highlight what Engage AI can do and ask them to check it out for a free services. And when you write the custom prompt, it's very, very much similar, like go to use ChatGPT, write the prompt, and then use that prompt. So the idea is exactly the same. It's pure English command, English language, and the AI or Engage AI will understand it.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, certainly I see the value in commenting. I comment all the time. I even comment on my own posts. When people leave a comment, I reply to them, with something. I don't try to say, oh, thank you for commenting. Sometimes I have an emoji if I really don't know what else to say. Sometimes I do say thank you if they do give me a compliment or something. but I always try to respond, and I know the value is certainly there. But how do people, what are your tips? And maybe your tool helps with this too, your software helps with this as well, is how do you even know whose posts to comment on?
That is a great question. I'm so glad that you bring it up, Chris. I have about 10,000 first level connection that I have built up over the year. The truth is, a lot of those connections are not really that matter or that important for what we do right now. The reality is, I only have about 100 people that I care about, that I am trying to build a relationship. I am trying to prospect. I am maintaining the relationship. And the problem with that, though, is that when I go to LinkedIn, LinkedIn doesn't show me about those 100 people that I care about. They show me whatever people that they want to show me because of all the various interactions that I have got on the platform and etc. and everything. So it is a bit of waste of time that I have to actually save them in a spreadsheet, click on them, and then go to their profile just to check whether they post or not. Engage AI actually have a really nitty-gritty function where if the user tell Engage AI who exactly these the people are, Engage AI actually will go and monitor and inform the user to say, hey, all these 100 people that you have already, you want us to monitor, you can find them in the web application. Some user call it as a mini CRM. So you can see this mini CRM within the Engage AI web application. In a glance, you can tell all of these 100 people, how many of them are posts, what are their posts is about in a summary. And all you have to do is just click a link to take you directly to the post, and you can comment it from there. That itself, if you have 100 people, it would easily save you 30 to 35 minutes just to check whether people are posting or not. So that is another tool, another feature that we have got.
I think the reason why that is very helpful actually is because there's a lot of people. I mean, not me. I post all the time, every day, probably, right? But and sometimes multiple times a day. But there's a lot of people who don't post that much, right? So when they
Exactly.
post and you're trying to connect with them, you want to know it, you want to see it. So sometimes it's kind of the luck of the draw, right? Looking through your feed because you might not even see them. So
Mm.
Engage AI monitoring that for you certainly is can be helpful. But what happens when people never post anything? Is that a case where there's prospects that don't post anything? I mean, we do need them to post something, right? Just to clarify.
Yes, yes. Well, there are people who never post. So what we are suggesting here right now is if people are not posting, then for what we do right now, there is nothing we can do. So what we are suggesting is, well, you would have to remove them, or you. This is not the people that we can help you with right now, because where we focus right now is purely commenting only. We do have a plan to move into the inbox for messaging, though. I'll come back to that. But otherwise, commenting only. When we move to the inbox for messaging, then if they are not posting, at least you can still use Engage AI to do the messaging. But still, you need to find an angle to go in, right? And the way that we see how it works really well right now is when you are moving someone from commenting in the public to the inboxing, that is a very natural progression. So, say for example, if I have commented on your post for multiple times, and I know that you and I have been exchanging the comment in the public setting, you even look at my profile, I know I can go in for a small conversation. So if I send you a message in the inbox, you wouldn't be so resisting because I am not spamming you and I'm not trying to sell you anything. And all my messages that start is that Chris, love what you were sharing about with me about the DBTV the other day. How did you actually get started? You see how that is such a natural progression from a public setting, commenting in public, into a messaging in the inbox. I bet you would reply to me, would you, Chris?
thanks for asking. DBTV, you were talking about that. Of course, if you guys don't know, we do broadcast on DBTV.TV. It's on several networks, and Roku, Amazon, Fire, and all those different places. Um, so, it's very interesting. So if you were to ask me about BTB TV, I'm more than happy to talk about it, right? Because the business storytelling show, one of the first shows on there, podcasting on TV, it's still kind of a new thing. I mean, some people only talk about podcasting as podcasting. Do you know what I mean? Like even live
Mm,
streaming is still new for some people. So definitely
mm,
interesting to talk about. So you have to kind of figure out what they care about, right? And of course, AI can kind of help you with that. Talk about what's the best use case? How do you use it? I mean, I love to use the LinkedIn app on my iPad, for example, but I also am a big fan of like Google Chrome extensions, right? Like I use Grammarly that way, and I don't even know keywords everywhere, all these different things on for Google extensions. Used to use Buffer. I don't do social media scheduling anymore. But what are the most common ways, the easiest ways to use your product out in the world?
absolutely. I would say the best way to fully utilize the product is using a CRM with our mini CRM as well as the browser add-on. So what that basically means is that a lot of the SMB owner, they already subscribe to HubSpot, they already subscribe to Pipedrive, and if they don't use those two, some of them probably would have Zapier or Integrately or Make.com. So those would be the intermediate channel to connect to any other CRM. Now, what I am trying to say then is with the prospect and the client that they are saving in the mini CRM, they could really integrate with Engage AI directly or using one of those intermediate channel to feed us the people that they care about. And once they feed us the people they care about in the Engage AI, we will then start monitoring on their behalf to say, of these 100 people within a grant, you can immediately see exactly who are posting. Depending on the CRM that they use, some of them we are actually able to feedback to the CRM itself by saying that, right, when they are still in their CRM, they could actually say that, oh, wow, okay, these are the people that I have already integrated and fed to Engage AI. Now it's telling me that, okay, this guy has posted, and all they have to do is click the link, go there directly, and that is where they then use the browser add-on to mouse over, choose the tone, and then comment. If they want to see in the grant, equally they can come back to our web application, see in grants, and exactly the same thing. Click on the link, take them directly to the post, and use a browser add-on. I would probably say that is the most productive and efficient way to use our product by combining their existing CRM with our web application and the browser add-on. Now, I know that people are also using our mobile app or iPad, and that is really useful when you have a couple of minutes in between the meeting here and there that you still want to engage. That is the time that you can use the mobile app to use Engage AI. I must say though that the mobile app is still in the early phase of beta testing, so it is not as functioning as well as we wish to be building. But overall, that is really the best way of using Engage AI.
And I mean, let's be honest, we're only in September. You launched in January. I mean, what isn't early on, right? I mean, everything is early on. You're relatively new. So hats off for 45,000 users already. So the question I have is, I do think, I mean, there is a little bit of a learning curve, right? Especially, I actually like to write, but I also like to use AI, when it makes sense to write stuff for me. I don't just go to ChatGPT or anywhere and say, "Hey, write me an article on what content marketing is." I don't do that. But I might use,
Mm,
as but I might use this podcast, feed it in there, say, "Write me the show notes," and I'll edit them. Now, the editing still takes a little bit of time, but I do think it probably takes less than me writing it from scratch. Plus, it does cover most everything more, you know, as a fuller picture. What's the learning curve for people as they're moving from writing, maybe well, maybe not so well, to having to edit? Like, that's a different skill set, right? I mean, are people saying they like that better, or it takes them a little bit to get used to, or what's their feedback?
That is a really, really good question. I am probably saying that we are hearing feedback with all kinds. So I suspect that it's the same feedback with people using the ChatGPT or any of those AI copywriting tool, where you have really one category saying that, nah, it never worked. Is out of tone. And I wouldn't be even bothered to try to edit it because editing it is actually taking me more time. What's the point? So definitely there is a group of those users. Then the second group is a lot of time they are telling me that 80% of the time is pretty much spot on. And so I am glad that perhaps we treat that as a compliment and we are doing a good job. So 80% of the time it is doing a good job and they pretty much just take it as it is, or they would just add a few words here and there. But 20% of the time, sometimes they think that is a bit out of that, they will redraft it, but also they will give them as an idea and then they just override in one way or another. So that is really the feedback that we are getting. I think the differences between, if I were to compare these to the copywriting or the example that you gave, commenting is so much shorter. And as a result of that, it doesn't hallucinate as much. It doesn't go crazy as much. It doesn't go out of the way as much. So in that sense, it's easier for us to control it, but also is lesser of an experience in terms of complaining that you would see in the copywriting world.
It's, you know, I think what it is too is when I listen to you, it's like the environment is more compact. It's like more, do you know what I mean? Like it's whatever it's commenting on, it's literally right there. So it's not just drawing out of the Wild West when you say, write me an article about content marketing, and it has to draw from wherever if you don't give it the source material. So I think that's very interesting. I know we're almost out of time, Jason. Really appreciate you coming on the show, making the time, supporting the Business Storytelling Show. Now, my last question, if you can answer that maybe in about 30 seconds here. What even prompted the development of Engage AI? What was the aha, we got to develop this baby, and here's why?
Well, as a SMB owner running a consulting business and also being a founder with STEM skill, the technical skill, but not a good salesman, these two really helped me to prospect, to get comfortable in commenting, to know what to say, to know what the right thing to say. And really is those two combinations that prompt me to build Engage AI. And because I know there are millions and millions of the SMB owner who are busy servicing the client, and also they have to keep up their digital presence. At the same time, many technical people who are like me who need to master and pick up this sort of skill set in order to be able to do it. So really, those are the two main reasons that I prompt me to build Engage AI. Love the last question. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Please rate and review the Business Storytelling Show on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. See you